You can be the best person in the entire world, like feed the hungry, never, like, I don't know, you can do everything right, be the best person in the world, literally walk the life of Jesus as they see him. But if you don't give your life over to Christ and say, I am nothing without my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, then you will still go to hell. And I'm just like, in this religion. And I'm just like, that is so bananas. Hello, 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 and welcome back to Bri Speaks podcast. I am your host, Bri Speaks, and today we are talking about Christianity versus spirituality, specifically like indigenous spirituality practices. So not just your, kind of like run of the mill, I'm not Christian, I'm spiritual, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, but really thinking about like indigenous African spirituality, indigenous Asian or Chinese specifically, Buddhism, Hinduism, Indian, chakras, Native American, South American. Like when you think back to our ancestors before colonization, but like the exportation of Christianity as a dogma to the rest of the world, what were people practicing? How were people thinking? And when you think about those spiritual practices and rituals, how does that compare to Christianity as it stands today? Or really has its standed throughout history, honestly. But, today, history, whatever you want to call it. And I've come up with 7 key differences between Christianity / Abrahamic religions. So that includes Islam and Judaism. And really that includes Mormonism and Catholicism. And who are the people who come and knock on your doors? Jehovah's Witnesses, like all of those really strict biblical religions or Torah religions or Quran religions, like all those, I got a big book of rules that I have to listen to and practice this way, those religions versus like indigenous spiritual practices where it was like, it wasn't necessarily if you did do something like wrong or against this religion, you will be existentially punished forever. A lot of those spirituality practices, they were really rooted and based in real life. And they align with science. Like that's my biggest thing, is someone who has a science background, who's done chemistry, organic chemistry, biology, all the maths, all the calculuses, the statistics. Like when I think of logic and nature and, evolution and anthropology and like all those like scientist-y subjects that I've gone through, when I look at indigenous spiritual practices, a lot of it lines up with logic, lines up with nature, lines up with the way we see things like just outside as they are, versus Christianity and these other indigenous, like, in these other Abrahamic religions, they don't align with the way the world works. Like a good example is Eve was like born, quote unquote, from the rib of Adam, and that's how people came to be. Like, and a lot of that literally goes against nature. We know that birth comes from the woman, and the female bears life, and a lot of these indigenous practices, they honor the woman, they honor the life bringer, they honor the feminine energy as a source, as the bringer of life, and they don't have anything that says, oh, the man was the first person who walks the earth. So looking at it from those kind of differences and those different point of views, and I've come up with 7 key differences that I want to walk through and talk about how they're different. And so I'll lay them out front, and then we'll go through them one by one as we move along this podcast episode today. So first one is that religion is made to control through guilt and fear, versus spirituality is made to empower. 2 is God is external in religions, versus spirituality, God is within you. 3 is there's one right path or one right way in Christianity or Abrahamic religions, and if you don't do it that one right way, there is judgment, be it from your congregation or your community or from the external God. Versus spirituality, there is no one right way. Your path is very unique to who you are. Your path is your journey, and that is the journey that you're supposed to walk. 4 is religions have very hierarchical structure. Like if you're a member of the congregation, you're kind of at the bottom. If you are a deacon or usher, you're in the middle. If you're a priest, you're toward the top. But if you're like a prophet, right, you're the closest thing there is to God. Or like if you're the Pope, you're like, there's hierarchies. There's people who can be closer or further away from God or from purity or from righteousness than other people. Whereas a lot of indigenous practices, they have this understanding that all life is equal. All life has like life source energy running through it. And so you respect all life from the ground to the animals to the human. Yep. 5 is religion causes self-hate, like by inherent nature of the way that it's taught to practice, you hate yourself. And then while spirituality teaches self-acceptance, self-love, like who you are is who you're supposed to be. And 6 is dogma over reason is in religion. It's like it doesn't matter if what's in this book makes zero sense. You have to believe it. Versus spirituality it does have this evolving acceptance of what is. It's like if this is what is, this is kind of what it's supposed to be. And it leaves room for there is things that you won't understand, but that is okay. And if you find out you understand it a different way, that's okay. So we'll get into that. And then the last one is religion really pushes collective thinking. And if you don't think the way that everyone else in your religion thinks, then you will kind of be outcasted from the community, from the cult, if you will. While spirituality has this inherent individual journey. And while you can walk your individual journey amongst others, it is not, if you don't do it the exact same way as others, then there is some sort of outcasting or marginalizing or pushing away to the ends of society. So those are the 7 kind of key differences I've come up with. Let me know if you think there are others. Let me know if you feel like I missed any. Let me know if you think any are wrong as we go through it. Happy to be open to those things, but those are the 7 I've come up with. So let's dig into it. Number 1, made to control through fear/guilt. That is religion. And I just, I don't know how better of a way to put it. People say that you have free will in these, religions in Christianity, but it's like, do you have free will really? If you don't give your life over to Christ in, Christianity specifically. And I will note that I'm saying Christianity a lot, but I do mean all Abrahamic religions, but I don't know the other 2, Judaism and Islam, as in depth as I know Christianity. So I don't want to comment on them from a in-depth lens because, I don't want to be inaccurate. But if you are Jewish, I don't know, or if you are practicing Islam, feel free to correct me. Feel free to correct me, but this is my understanding of them as a whole. So, made to control through fear/guilt. If you don't if you don't give your life over to Christ in Christianity, you will be cast to hell. And it's even to the point where even if you've never heard of Jesus, you've never heard of Christianity, you live in like a remote part of the world and you have never touched a Bible or even heard of a Bible, like nothing about this religion, there is still a portion, I won't say all Christians, but there is still a portion of Christians who feel like you will be damned to hell for not giving your life over to Christ, even if you have never heard of this person. So like that is how deep the fear of hell goes. And it is no more than a source of control in my eyes. Like, I don't understand how you can think that, like, if you have to tell someone do this thing or face severe consequences, that is control, like, inherently in and of itself. So you say that in Christianity you can choose not to give your life over to Christ, and you can do that because you quote unquote have free will. But the fact that you as a Christian believe that you can not give your life over to Christ, but you will still believe that you will be punished in some sort of way, that is a mental control mechanism forcing you to do what you are being told to do. Like, I think of even like as a parent, when you're parenting your child, you have to give, consequences, negative consequences to help your child do the things that they're supposed to do. And I know a lot of times Christianity compares God in the sky to parenting like IRL. And so you feel like that is appropriate, but as an adult, you are not supposed to be parented in that same manner. You, as a child, you're in your formative years. You do not have the amount of information required to make good decisions for yourself. But as an adult, you do. And if you make those decisions, you are not to be punished by an external force. At that point, that's where life is supposed to give you the lessons. Experience is supposed to be the thing that guides you to do the right thing. But Christianity feels like, I guess, adults are so stupid or so dumb or so sinful, right? Or so incompetent that if they are not threatened with this all-time ever existential punishment, then they will choose the wrong decisions. But what the thing is though, it's like for Christianity, there is no right decision other than giving your life over to Christ. It is like you can be the best person in the entire world, like feed the hungry, like, I don't know, you can do everything right, be the best person in the world, literally walk the life of Jesus as they see him. But if you don't give your life over to Christ and say, I am nothing without my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, then you will still go to hell. And I'm just like, in this religion, and I'm just like, that is so bananas. Like that's something like since a very young child, I've always struggled with that concept of like people who are awful, who are sinners, quote unquote, who do evil, awful, mean things, like they lie, they cheat, they scam, they steal. But if they give their life over to Christ in words and, get baptized, they will be taken into heaven. But someone who has lived their life as a servant from birth and has like maybe done one bad thing, let's say, I don't know, they accidentally stole a lollipop out the grocery store when they were a kid, something like that, like something small and menial, that person would be cast to hell. But the person who was a murderer and killed and pillaged and raped and did all these awful things, they would go to heaven because they, at the last second right before they died, gave their life to Christ. That's how we want to teach people to live their lives? That's what we teach? That's what we want? That's how we feel? I'm like, how is that the right way to go? And it's like, and then I talk to so many Christians, and when I say, I don't live for this external God and I don't do good to get into heaven, and their first reason is like, their question is like, what are you living for then? What is your purpose? How can you have a purpose if you feel like there's no God? And then first of all, I'm like, I do feel like there is a life source energy that runs through all of us, that brings us all together, that gives us like, essentially, long story short, is the purpose is each other. Our purpose is to live the best life that we can, helping as many people as we can, using our unique gifts to help uplift one another, to help other people's lives be a little bit better, like, to leave the world a little bit better than how you found it. Like, that is more than enough purpose for myself. But why is that not enough for Christians? It's like they need to have this, I don't know, it gives narcissism, if I'm being honest. They need to have this, I am so special, I am so above, I am better than everyone else, and that is why I am a Christian, because I am this super like special snowflake who does all these super special awesome things, and so I will be rewarded in a super special amazing way. And since you're not super special and awesome, you will not be rewarded in this super special way. Because it's like, really, because again, you can do all the things the same. You can both live a life of generosity, of kindness, of gratitude, of like all these things, but I gave my life to Christ and you didn't, and so I'm going to get this special reward and you won't. That's weird. That's weird. It is, again, it's just like, if you don't do it that way, it's control, and you'll feel guilty. It is control through guilt and fear, and maybe a reward mechanism. Versus spirituality, it is not there to control you. It is not there to tell you how to live your life. It's there to empower. It is there to say there are things in this world that are unseen or unknown or unexplained by the science that we have right now, but we know that we feel something. We know that there's this energy, this vibration, this frequency in the air, if you want to call it the air, but like in the multiverse, in the etherverse, in the something. and you know that, there are all of these experiences where people are about to die and they like see the other side, or like they hear their grandma, or they have these encounters with people who are no longer here, and they like get this information from these divine beings. And we need a way to explain that, because as of right now, science doesn't, even though, science can say that, um, it's some sort of mental thing that's happening in your mind, but I can't explain everything, because there are so many experience like accounts of people getting information that they would not have had any way of having without it being some sort of messaging from the beyond. And a good example I think of is I was listening to this nurse, and she was helping this patient, but it wasn't her patient. It was one of her coworkers' patients. But the coworker, so this other nurse, she didn't come into work that day. And so the patient, who was, on their last leg and about to head off into the sunset, he told the nurse who was there, was like, hey, when let's call her, I don't know, Nurse Joy from Pokemon comes to mind. So when Nurse Joy comes back, please tell her that her parents said, we love you a lot, and we hope you enjoyed the red car, or we hope like it's okay, like it's okay about the car. Something about some red car was mentioned. And then the current nurse was like, okay, will do. And then, long story short, is the nurse that didn't come into work that day, she had like just gotten, it was really sad, but just got in a car accident, and she was in a red car that her parents had got her. But her parents had already passed away. Something, I don't know. Y'all, this is a bad reiteration of this story, but the story was that this patient, this neutral patient, had passed on information from something that happened that they had no idea had happened, from parents, like people they had never met. It's just like stuff like that. And there's so many accounts of that. It's just like you cannot, like, there's no amount of neuroscience that can explain that. And it's nothing that can explain that outside of, the spiritual realm being a true place of existence. And we just, in the physical realm can't tap into it right now. So we have to have a way to explain it. But the way that religion teaches you to explain it is again through fear and control. And then only certain people has access to this information. But in spirituality, it is there to empower you to understand that there is this spiritual essence, the spiritual realm, this like magic, if you will, but it teaches you like, here's how you can access it, here's how you can tap into it, here's how you can talk to those people. It empowers you as the individual person to connect with this other side or this inner power, versus religion teaches you that it is something that you can only access through somebody else or by somebody else, or like it really teaches you don't have that power, and it controls your mind through other people having to tell you how to use and tap into your own spiritual power. Okay, that was number 1. All right, number 2, and I was trying to make these a little faster, is that God is external versus God is within you. In Christianity and these other religions, it's like God is this external authority figure, and they have this power over you, although they give you free will. And they will help you when they want to, but they won't help you when they don't want to. So it's just like you're doing all this praying, but it's like almost like, why are you praying? If they're going to help you, they are. If they're not going to help you, they won't. But it's like, oh, but praying makes them happy. So it's like they'll help you. This God will help you pray to them, which again, in my mind is like really like almost a bastardization of spirituality, because in a lot of spiritual practices, like when you think of, what is it called? El Dia los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, they have, they put up their ancestor altars, and they like, talk to the ancestors, and they give them food, or like they'll set up a plate for them at the table. There are these indigenous practices where you give gifts to the people who have passed on, and it is a way to encourage them, let them know you love them, let you know you care about them, and then as kind of like an offering to have their protection in your life. And so it's like, so in spiritual and ancestral spiritual practices, you do give offerings to your ancestors for their protection, so that they will help you. But it's like with the understanding that your ancestors are people who want to be loved, cared for, and respected. But with Christianity and Abrahamic religions, it gives you like God is external, and they will help you if they want to, because they're all good, all knowing, all powerful. But you have to pray, and maybe he will and maybe he won't if he wants to. Like, it's almost like, what are you praying for? If they're going to, they're not. But like, but again, it's like, but he won't if you don't pray. But if you do pray, he might. And it's like it's kind of the same thing with the ancestors. But it's different though, because like the ancestors, I mean, it's the same. Like the ancestors, they might help you, they might not. If you give them offerings, they might do it. They're more likely to help you. But I don't know. There's more of a, I don't know. I feel like it's almost more of a guarantee with the ancestors because they are like they're there to help you. They're there in the spirit realm, like, and that's like it's almost like it's like their job. It's like their job is to watch over their children as they go through their version of this life. But this external God, it is not. It is his job to protect you, but it's like also his job to protect everyone. So that's another thing. It's like it's God's job to protect all 7 billion people in the world. And so it makes like you and your problems feel so much more minuscule and less personal to external all being God versus in spirituality. Your ancestors are your ancestors. Like my grandma, she passed away a few years ago, but I talk to her on a regular basis. I know exactly who I'm talking to. She enjoys tuna sandwiches. I'm like, I'm going to make her a tuna sandwich soon and enjoy that with her. And it's like, I don't know. It's just a much more personalized relationship, and she is in the spirit realm. So the thing is like there's nothing for me, there's nothing wrong with praying with the ancestors, because if they are in the spirit realm, they have a close relationship to me, and they have a close relationship to whoever the great spirit is, if you want to call that person God. And if I give them a message, they will have a better chance of giving that message to God than I would anyways, just because they're closer to that spirit. So I don't know, just God being external versus first of all, so anyways, so God is inside of you. And so with spirituality, yes, you pray for your ancestors for like extra spiritual energy, but everyone has like the God source energy inside of you. The fact that you're walking, talking, and moving around, you have God inside of you. And it says in the Bible again that God is humans are made in God's image, but so again, it's like I feel like it is it's a perversion of true indigenous spirituality, because indigenous spirituality says that God is inside of you, and each of us is like a manifestation of God. And so it's like if God is this, like, I don't know, you think of God as a pizza. Each of us is a pepperoni or a piece of cheese or a piece of crust or a piece of tomato sauce. Like every one of us is like a piece of God in a specific way. And I love that. And then we put us all together, we make a pizza, which is we make God, we make this God consciousness, this God essence. And I love that, because while someone is a pepperoni and someone is a piece of cheese, and while someone's a crust and someone is a tomato sauce, we need all of those things to make a pizza. So it equalizes all life. When you think of God as inside of you, it's like everyone is equal. Everyone has an equal amount of God inside of them. They just show up in different ways, and they all have different roles. It is the most beautiful representation of like different but equal. It is like we are all different, but it doesn't make any of us like more or less. It is just like we are all needed to be different in order to make the life that like life on earth work. Diversity is necessary. Like no ecosystem can work with just one animal or just one plant or just one like rock. I don't know. It's just we need all of these differences to come together to make a whole, and that is what each of us are as human beings. But when it comes to like Abrahamic religions, it makes it so that you are like all of you are the exact same. It says all of you are the same, and God will help you as he sees fit. If you like work hard enough, God will help you. And and if you're if you worship him enough, if you pray enough, if you are saved enough, then he will help you. And it's like it makes you all no longer equal. It's like God will only bless his favorites. God will only help those he cares about, or they'll help those he loves. Like it doesn't put the power in each of the individual hands. It puts the power in this external God, and it literally pits us against each other. It's just like, oh, I'm God's favorite. Oh, I'm God's favorite. Oh, well, I did praise and worship today, or oh, I did the choir. Oh, I've read my entire Bible today. Like it's like instead of equalizing the power amongst everyone in Christianity, it puts the power in the people who have said that they are the most dedicated, and that's how God is going to bless them. So it gives people reasons to compare one another versus like appreciate one another and their differences. And it's so silly. It's so silly because we're all humans. We all are made up of the same 4 nucleotides within our DNA. What is it? Guanine, cytosine, or adenosine. Okay. If you know the DNA nucleotides, we're all made up of the same ones. We're all made up of the same hydrogen, oxygen, again, going back to chemistry, we're all made up of the same molecules. Like, I was just listening to a podcast that was like, you have 20% of our DNA is the exact same as a banana. Like, we are not all life is not very different from one another. It just happened to show up in a little bit of a different way. Like, one small DNA movement made is the difference between us and, like, I think, with monkeys, it's like point 0.1 of a DNA. It's like we are not that different. So for people to feel like we are, if I really have this religion, I'm better, or if I do this, then you're worse. It's all so silly. It's all so silly because we're all here, we're all needed, we're all different, and we're all special in our own unique ways. But we're all equal. We're all the same. We have the same value. It's just we have different value. Like, we have the same value, but different purposes. It's like when white people say, I don't see color. It's the same thing as that. It's like, I don't like, it's saying, I don't like, it's saying, they're trying to say that we're all the same, but it's saying that we're all the same, like, period. But it's not saying that, like, again, a pepperoni is different from a piece of cheese, is different from a crust, is different from a tomato sauce. It's like you're saying you're like, you don't see my value as the value that I bring as a pepperoni. You don't see the value that I bring as a crust. You don't see the value that I bring as a piece of cheese. Like, there is beauty in seeing differences and seeing diversity and seeing the uniqueness that each individual person brings, and you should never ever ignore that. It should be appreciated. It should be loved on. It shouldn't be ignored. It should never, like, differences should never be ignored, because every single difference is important and is special and is necessary, and it's going to have some sort of positive contribution to the broader whole of the being. Okay, but people want to say, I don't see color. It's just like, so you don't see the uniqueness that I bring. You think I'm a robot. You think I'm a plant that just shows up and does whatever I'm supposed to do. Okay. All right, that's 2. All right, so I'm gonna speed it up. Number 3 is Christianity has one right way to judge, one right way to practice. And if you don't practice that way, you are judged, versus spirituality, your path is unique. And so I can't wrap this one up because I kind of just did it the last one. But in Christianity, it's like, and I think about Islam for this one specifically, because you're supposed to, pray at these certain times of day, and you're supposed to, have, I don't know, it's a lot of very, I wouldn't call them very strict, but like pretty strict rituals when it comes to Islam. And there are some, I would call them strict rituals and different spiritual practices. So I don't want to knock it too much, but it's like, they're kind of really strict. It's like, praying 5 times a day, your journey to Mecca. When you pray, you're supposed to pray in a certain direction toward the east or the west or the sun or something towards Mecca, I believe, whatever direction that is. It's just a lot. It's just, and so kind of the same with church on Sunday. You're supposed to go to church every Sunday. It's the Sabbath. It's just like, it's all of these very timely rituals. And again, there are timely rituals in spirituality, but they are usually for a specific purpose. So if you are trying to, manifest wealth or something like that, you might want to do it 3 times on, this month of the week or whatever. There are some timings that go with certain goals, but it's not every single day of your life you have to do this. And if you don't do this, you will be punished. You will go to hell. You will be deemed not worthy. You will be ousted from community. So I just don't love that. And then it's like there's that, and I don't love that in Abrahamic religions there is this bar of perfection, and everyone knows you're not going to ever meet that bar, but you're always shooting for that bar. And so if you don't meet that bar, you're internally shamed. You're internally like, dang, I messed up. Dang, I'm not good enough. But you knew you weren't going to be good enough. So it's just like you live in this perpetual state of I'm not good enough, which that goes into causing self-hate. And so I won't go into that too much. But it's like if there is a right way and a wrong way to practice Abrahamic religions, and if you don't practice it the right way, or then you're practicing it the wrong way. Like if you you can't be gay in Christianity or Islam, and I'm not sure about Judaism, but probably not Judaism either. Versus in spirituality, your path is unique to you. So if you feel gay, if you are gay, if you are attracted to the same sex from the inside out, then that is your path that you're supposed to be walking. There is no questioning that. Like that is who you are. And so okay, this is the path that God has given you. This is how you have manifested your God essence. Instead of a pepperoni, you're a piece of ham, or like you're a pineapple. Like it's just a difference, and there is nothing wrong with that. And it's just your path, and you have to walk it the way that you feel is best for you. There is no right or wrong. And that's like, that's a terrible way to live your life whenever it comes to these other religions. Because if you happen to be born in a way that is not aligned with this box that they want you to fit in, they kick you out the box. And it's just like, well, if you wanted to be in the box, it's like you don't fit. And now you're a triangle. And now they say, we don't want you here. And now you have to lose your community, lose your family, or like lie to yourself and say, okay, I'm not this thing anymore. Or no, I don't want to be the thing. Like you just have so much mental turmoil trying to make yourself fit into this standard that they have created when that path was never made for you in the first place. All right, next, hierarchical structure versus equality in all life. In Christianity and religions, there is this, this, again, the sense of if you do it better, worship harder, pray more, like if you give more energy to the religion, you are better and you are higher in the religion. Versus the spirituality, it's like, again, everyone has the same amount of life source energy in them, and how they use it is how they use it. And it's like how you use it is like that's your choice, and that's how you want to use it, and that's fine. But it's like you don't have any more or less value or more or less rights to life than any other life that is on this planet Earth. And it's a beautiful thing, because you'll see in a lot of indigenous practices, like if you have to, kill an animal for food, it's like, you thank the animal for their sacrifice, because you appreciate them, because your life wasn't more important than theirs. But in the cycle of life, you have to eat them, because that is you have food to consume. But the same way the lion will eat a hyena, or not really a hyena, I think they eat deers, or like an antelope. Yes, they eat antelope. The same way a lion will eat an antelope, it's not that the lion is evil and the antelope is good. It's just like that is, the hierarchy of life. But as spiritual beings who have the awareness that we are all equal, we can thank that animal for its sacrifice to be nourishment for our bodies, which is, the same thing as praying. Thank God. You thank God for nourishment instead of thanking the animal itself. But it's like, it's different. It's like you thank God for the food, but it makes the animal less valuable. You thank God for the food, but you don't thank the animal whose life was the one that you took. You're taking the energy from that animal specifically. And yeah, the God made the animal, but it's like, again, God is not an external thing that made the animal. It's like, this is a manifestation of God, and you are consuming that energy. And you should thank that animal for allowing you to consume its energy. Like, I don't know how to, like, that's bad. I think that's a good example, but I'm not explaining it well. But it's just like, yeah, and these religions create a hierarchy so that you don't thank the animal. You don't, and it's like, and okay, and I don't like that. It's because when you feel like you are better than the animal, and that you deserve to eat this animal, and that this animal was made to be eaten by you, you lose gratitude. You lose the gratitude that people should have towards food. And then that's what creates waste. And waste is the problem that we have right now in the world, is we're producing all of this stuff. We're consuming all of this stuff. And we don't think about the energy that we are consuming when we're consuming this stuff or this food. We just think about the food, because we don't see it as another life form. We just see it as food. People talk about dehumanizing. De-lifeified. I don't know if that's a word, but like, we have taken the value of life, like not only away from other humans, but like from other animals, from vegetation, from Mother Earth. And the fact that we have taken that value of life from all of the creatures within the planet, it creates this distancing from the fact that we are taking life when we're eating our food. We just buy it from the grocery store, and we don't think about how many animals passed away so that we could get this food from this grocery store. And so then it justifies that we are now slaughtering way more food than we ever could need, because we don't think about that was a life form that we didn't have to put in the energy and the work to get the energy back. And so it's okay for it to be wasted, if that makes sense. It's like, when you don't work for something, you don't appreciate it as much. And because we are not directly killing and hunting our own food, we don't think about, oh, this was an animal that had a life, that had maybe a family. And so we don't thank the animal. We just say, thank you, Tyson's chicken, for this. We don't say thank you, Tyson. We say thank you to God, and don't think about it no more. And then that is because of the hierarchical structure. We think we are better than animals. We think that we are better than other humans. If we are praying more, we are putting more spiritual energy toward this external God, and it is damaging in like a fundamental way. And it is a big reason why we have so much waste and overconsumption is that we've created this hierarchical structure where God is this great thing. People who praise and thank God and give energy to God is like the next great thing. People who are Christian are just like the next great thing, or Abrahamic religion is the next best thing. And then anyone who's not is like next best thing. And then if you're Black and not, then you're next best thing. And then if you're an animal, you're even less than that. It's just like that hierarchical structure is damaging for all life across the planet Earth. And then if we can't eat you, then you're even less. And like if you're a fungus, you're even less. Like if you're an insect, now you're even a nuisance. Like, it's just, we don't see the value in each of these individual things because we see them as invaluable because we've put them in this hierarchy versus in this circle of equality. So, all right, that's it. Okay, next 5, self-hatred. A religion causes self-hatred versus spirituality promotes self-acceptance. And so this is what I was talking about earlier, where it's like religion gives you this box. And if you don't fit in this box, then you have to conform, you have to twist, you have to mold yourself to fit into this box. And if you don't fit into this box, you have 2 options. You can either, okay, there's a box. And if you don't fit in the box, you have 2 options. You can mold and twist and contort yourself to fit into this box where you're like now uncomfortable, you're going against your intuition, you don't feel like you are who you don't feel like you know who you are. You're just going with this thing that people are telling you to be, and then you hate yourself for it, mind you, because if you are, let's say if you're gay or trans or something that is unacceptable to the church, to Christianity, to these religions, you feel misaligned in who you are. And the whole point of spirituality is alignment. Like when you think of the 7 chakras, which is an indigenous spiritual practice, it is all, what can I do to feel aligned? Like the whole point of living is to feel aligned in your mind, body, and spirit. Like who I am matches what I do, matches how I feel, matches like what I like my actions. Like it's just like I don't feel like I'm like a part of, like that's why I hate corporate America because it makes me as a Black person, I have to change my identity. I literally have to change my identity to show up in a way that is palatable for the corporate structure. It's like I have to rehearse things. I have to think things ahead of time. Like I can't show up and say I am because I am and then be myself, because if I say something incorrect or out of pocket, or I don't know, improper or offensive or polarizing or political, then I've lost my job. So it's like that's literally how religion is. Religion makes you show up this specific and certain way, and if you don't show up in this specific and certain way, you are not good enough. And so you have to split yourself into these different personalities to be able to fit it, or really not even. And Christianity doesn't make you like, work is different because it gives you the excuse or allows you to be yourself at home and then like split into this work personality at work for 8 hours a day, for 40 hours a week, for too many weeks in a year. But Christianity is like, it expects your whole personality to be this Christian personality, and it's like it expects you to be that person. And if you don't become that person, you literally have to change your identity if your core identity doesn't fit in the box they want you to fit in. And that causes self-hate, because if you are gay but the church tells you not to be gay, then you will hate yourself for being gay. If you don't like praying, or I don't know if there's, what other things are there that's just like, if you are like, if you're a young person and you have sex before you're married, now you're a sinner, and you have all this self-hatred because you had sex before you signed a piece of paper that didn't even exist whenever Christianity was not. Before that, it's this artificial man-made piece of paper. If you have sex, a natural thing that all humans want to do at some point in their lives, well, maybe not all, we got our asexuals out there, but the vast majority of humans will do / will want to do at some point in their lives. If you do that before you have signed this piece of paper, now you're a sinner, and now you hate yourself. And especially if you're a young woman, you are this terrible, awful, God-forsaken person if you like have sex out of marriage. God forbid you get pregnant. No, really, especially in this economy. Hey, listen, don't have no kids, but God forbid you get pregnant out of wedlock in the church. Damn you to hell. It's just damn you to hell. And it's just like, if you fall outside of the lines, if you color outside the lines of Christianity, you now have to hate yourself because you are doing it wrong. Versus spirituality, it literally teaches you like, if this is who you are, that's who you're born to be, and and it teaches you need to accept that, you need to love that, you need to figure out what your purpose is based on the characteristics and the properties that you have as the person that you have shown up to be on this planet Earth. Like, you are a manifestation of God, and so you are exactly who you're supposed to be. But no, not in Christianity. Here's the script. Read it. Read it and weep, folks. And if you don't read off of this script, then you are the problem. Oh, you're questioning faith? You're questioning things you don't understand? To hell with you. Literally, to hell with you. Ridiculous. Okay. And then, so self-hate, then dogma over reasoning, which is, it's just, so going back into that, if you don't understand things, like when I was a young person, I often would question, how is God all good, all powerful, and all knowing, all at the same time if all these terrible things are happening? And the answer is like, stop asking questions, little girl. Like, that is that. Or it's just like, if Adam, like, why didn't God forgive Eve for biting off the apple? She didn't know any better. She made a mistake. She was tricked. It's just like, she got what she deserved. He had to be a just God. But it's just like, oh, but he could have forgiven her, but he knew it was going to happen. Like, it's just, there are so many things, y'all. There are so many things. Even like Noah, I was just like, Noah in the ark. I'm just like, everybody had to die. Every single person on the entire planet had to die except Noah and his family. Not one person could live. Everybody sucked. Not even a baby. There wasn't a baby in the world that deserved to live. No, dang, that's crazy. It's just like, there are so many things. And then Daniel, like that Daniel, I think it was Daniel, his child got struck ill because Daniel didn't do what she said. I was just like, he couldn't, like, why did the baby have to go? He couldn't have did anything else. Like, just so many just awful things that it's like I had so many questions about, but whenever I asked questions, it was like, basically just have faith. And I just hate that because it really teaches you to not question things that don't make sense. And it's just like, and that is so dangerous. That is such a dangerous way to teach people how to think, is don't question things if it don't make sense. And I'm just like, I have always been a very curious person. Which is what ended up taking me into the sciences that I went into, because I wanted to understand, how does the world work? And once you understand how the world works, you do understand that the Bible, it can't work. And I can't knock, again, I do believe that a lot of the things in the Bible come from indigenous spiritual practices, and they just like perverted it. So it's like, there's not to say there's nothing in the Bible that's untrue. There's nothing in the Bible that is true. Like, there are things that in the Bible that are truth. Which, I might even do a whole episode on the Adam and Eve story, and what I think actually it means and what actually happened. But it's like with Christianity and these religions, they tell you, take it at face value and just have faith that it's true. But then they also tell you it's not true and it's just stories, and get the message behind it. But then it's just like, I don't know. It's just like, it really is pick and choose what is true and what is a story that you take the lesson from, and not the truth whenever they feel like it. And it's so weird. So it's just like, you got to believe the dogma over any reason. Like, the dinosaurs are not in there. Like, it's like God made Adam and Eve and all of the things that happen there, and like, the people and the animals and the plants. And then I always ask what happened to the dinosaurs, and I got stop asking about the dinosaurs, Bri. Like, we don't know when the dinosaurs came in, and it's just like, and the Bible's so young, and it's just not reflective of science and history. And but a lot of spirituality is like, some of it is not, I guess, like some of the practices, like, like pouring out libations for your ancestors, pouring one out for the dead homies. That's actually an indigenous practice that like people would do, is like pour out libations for your ancestors. So it's like, stuff like that. There's still science behind it. But I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but which is, that's what spirituality is. There are some things you're not going to be able to explain, and I get that, but it doesn't have anything that is so against logic. Like, there's not things that are just so against logic that you have to stop thinking to believe it. There's really nothing in spirituality like that. It's just like, it really does a good job of explaining the things that are unseen, versus religions. Just, they don't explain the things that are unseen. They give you more things that they explain things that are seen, and they explain them in a really terrible and poor and misunderstanding way, like ways that make you feel stupid. Like there's no way this could be true. And it's just like, you got to go with it. All right. And then the last thing, wrapping it up, is collective thinking. There's so much groupthink in religion, and it really does. It creates a space where you are not allowed to think outside the box. You're not allowed to question the collective. You're not allowed to question the group. You're not allowed to think outside the box. And again, as each of us are unique individuals, we are supposed to question, we are supposed to think outside the box. We're supposed to bring our unique and diverse perspectives to the table and say, hey, I hear your perspective, but here's my perspective. Now, like, let's put all of our perspectives together and make a pizza. That is the beauty. That is the beauty of diversity, is when you bring different people together with their different experiences and their different perspectives, it makes something so amazing. Christianity does not allow you to do that. It's like, come to the table, they put the perspective that you're supposed to have in the middle, and everyone read out of this perspective, and that's the perspective you're all going to have. The end. And I'm just like, that is so harmful. It's so hurtful. It is so terrible. It is like taking all of the trees and saying, cutting them all down and say, no, we're only having oak trees because we don't like the other trees. And it's just like, the other trees were so good for the squirrels. The other trees were so good for, I don't know, the cheetahs to live in. And the other trees were good for the orangutans. It's just like you don't care about anything else but yourself. Christianity is such a selfish religion. It is such a selfish religion. I was listening to a podcast today, and it was so good because it was like, this guy was like, yeah, I'm atheist. And he was like talking to a Christian. He was like, yeah, I'm atheist and you are too. You're just atheist. He said, you're just atheist to all other religions except yours. And I'm atheist to all religions and yours. And I was just like, huh, what a interesting perspective. Because it's like Christian. And that's the thing. That's the thing about indigenous, like, spirituality. To my understanding, the way that I practice it, it is not to dismiss other indigenous spiritual practices. Like, if the way they grew up in South America and their like ancestral altars are different than the ones that are in African ancestral altars, it's just like they're different, but it's like, that's how it's been working for you all for thousands of years, then that's how it's been working for you all. Like, this is how we do it. This is how you do it. It's just you're a pepperoni, I'm a piece of cheese, like that, and that's it. That is it. It's just, that is how it's supposed to be. But Christianity does not allow that. It does not allow you. You can't even, like, if you're not a pepperoni pizza or a cheese pizza, then you're not a pizza. Then you're not invited to. You're not allowed to come to the pizza party with Christianity. You're not allowed to go to the pizza party. And I'm just like, that is not right. That's not fair. It's not. And it's like, it's not even about being fair, but it's also like, not only is it not fair to other religious practices, it's like not fair to the people who even practice the religion. You're like, they say you can explore, but it as someone who used to be Christian, it is like almost sacrilegious to even touch a Torah, to touch a Quran, to, if you are looking at any other like indigenous spiritual or Abrahamic religious practices, it is almost it is frowned upon. It's like, why do you even know about these other religions? You're not even supposed to know about them because you're Christian, and that is what you're supposed to be, and that's what it is. And what are you even doing looking at the religions? So that's it for today. Those are my 7 reasons why Christianity and Abrahamic religions are different and in a more harmful way than spirituality and indigenous spiritual practices. I hope you learned something. I hope it was useful. I hope it was interesting, if nothing else. And I hope to see you again. If you want, please do follow me on TikTok at Bri.Speaks, YouTube Bri.Speaks, and Spotify Bri Speaks Podcast. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for coming, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.